has launched a series of retaliatory strikes across the Gulf in response to joint US-Israeli attacks on its country. The strikes have hit several states in the region, including the UAE. Dubai's media office have reported a limited fire in the area near the US consulate on Tuesday, which was caused by a drone strike, but no injuries have been reported. Airlines and tourism industries now face the impact of over 20,000 flight cancellations, with governments scrambling to bring stranded travellers home. Let's now listen in to a few residents from Dubai as they share the impact of drone strikes on their daily life.
Well, the first night was kind of really scary because it was very unusual. I've lived here for 22 years and we never thought this would happen. We never experienced something like this. And now we hear blasts once in a while, and it's kind of getting normal because nothing really has happened around us. So it just seems like it's unusual, but it seems kind of normal now because it's happening so frequently. Every morning we hear a couple of blasts, every night we hear a couple of blasts. We hear fighter jets going around all the time patrolling. So that's that.
I think keeping the morale of our business and our team up is quite challenging, as it is also with the family and the children, motivating everybody and keeping everybody calm. But I'm feeling positive. I mean, we keep following the news and referring to reputable social media channels and media. There's a lot of false news out there that I think is also scaring people, specifically my family that are all in other countries, asking me how is the situation. And to be honest, this morning when I woke up and went out for a run, took the dogs for a walk, I felt like it was a normal day for me.
And now joining us live, we have Professor Toleraya again and another guest, Ambassador KP Fabian, who is a former diplomat in New Delhi. Now, thank you so much for joining our show. The UAE has a massive population that are not Emiratis. What challenges do a small but wealthy country face in this situation?
To whom is the question, please?
Sorry, beg your pardon. To you, Ambassador Fabian.
Okay. Now, UAE has a very large foreign population, including more than 4.5 million Indians. And as you know, many Americans have left. We do not have the specific figures for the UAE.
Especially Dubai and Emirates, they have positioned themselves in Russia as a safe haven for the people in Russia who wanted to avoid a war, who wanted to run away from the war in Ukraine. And Dubai and the Emirates, Abu Dhabi, they presented themselves as a sort of a venue for starting new business with low taxes, good environment, good business environment, comfortable living. And many people have moved or acquired property in Dubai and Abu Dhabi and Saudi and other places. And some people jokingly say that Dubai is the fourth capital of Russia because there's so many Russian businessmen and elite people either having business or living there or going there for vacation. So now this reputation is totally shattered and many people will move out. And also the reputation as a safe haven for capital and for keeping their money will also be in big doubt. So I think that's a big damage to the Emirates business and to the business between, for example, Russia in this case and United Arab Emirates, who, by the way, are also the member of BRICS, the grouping which is formed under Russian and Chinese and Indian sponsorship.
Now to you, Ambassador Fabian. Just on a similar note, how do you think that these developments will affect the reputation of the UAE as a location for Indian employment? Will the Indian diaspora who are looking for overseas employment now look to different locations and perhaps not choose the Gulf as the region has been engulfed in conflict lately?
Well, up to an extent, but the general expectation is that this war, this situation is going to last forever. And I will tell you why. You see, by expanding the war, by attacking the US and foreign bases in the GCC, and even hotels and other establishments in the GCC, including oil facilities, oil and natural gas facilities in Saudi Arabia and in Qatar, Iran has created a set of conditions which make it impossible for President Trump to continue this war beyond X number of days. You know that the oil prices have shot up. You know that gas prices have shot up, and you know that the stock market is plummeting. So it is quite possible that one of these days, President Trump will declare victory, and that will be, of course, to the chagrin of Prime Minister Netanyahu, who would prefer to have a longer war. But I do not think the present condition can continue for too long.
Ambassador Fabian, please don't go far. As we move to our next question for you, Professor Tolaraya. Now, Ambassador Fabian mentioned the diaspora, and you've mentioned the Russian diaspora currently living in the UAE. What is the Russian outlook on this fresh war? Of course, oil prices are rising, and this will be to the benefit of Russia as they are a major producer of oil, and the Gulf states, of course, cannot produce as much oil. So how does this affect the Russian outlook on this war?
Well, there's lots of analysis of different kind. Of course, this war is very tragic and horrendous, and we would like it to be over as soon as possible, to stop the hostilities and to regain the force of diplomacy. That's the general desire. Speaking about the consequence, there's of course pluses and minuses. On the one hand, this violation of international law and killing of the leader of the country is so horrendous that it overweighs any possible benefits which might arise from the rise in oil prices. And even if they would rise, that would also be not of immediate effect for Russia, because of course the price of the contracts may rise, but there still remains difficulties in the Russian transportation and logistics supplies of oil and gas. So far the European market is still closed, and I don't expect that unless the war would last for years, it will be reopened for Russia. So that means we'll have just to raise the price of oil for India, among other places, and China, which has its limits. So there will be a certain effect for that, but this is not a major factor for the Russian economy, although it's not bad either. And anyway, the insurance premiums and transportation costs, they would eat much of this profit, because now the transportation become much more hard, and the transportation routes will have to find new directions. That also takes some time.